Like this heat wave is crazy, but I appreciate all y'all coming out and hearing what we have to say. I got a great panel of like friends of mine in this industry. I'm gonna let each one of y'all introduce yourselves one by one, and then we gonna get into it. You be so kind.
My name is Eve Pierre, and I'm an agent at CAA.
Is this thing on? Okay, I'm Goldie Harris. Some people in New York may know me as a host and a DJ, but I'm also the Director of Commerce or Commercial Partnerships at United Masters.
Yep.
Check. Yeah, I've never rapped. I always wanted to do that. Say no, but I'm Ahmad Davis. I'm an artist relations manager over at UM. So if there's any dope, like, unsigned artist that's looking for distribution, tap in with me. But after.
What's up? My name is William Foster. I do programming at Apple Music, and I also do artist management.
Tell them who you manage.
All right.
I
thought we was gonna get into it a little later, but I manage the artist Cash Cobain. So.
Make some noise for Will, man. So a big reason why we're doing this, I think, like, and especially for me, and why this club talk is so important, is I feel like coming up in the music industry, and I'm sure, you know, a lot of you, whether you guys are artists or you guys are trying to be in the music industry, there's a lot of misinformation out there. There's not really a lot of guidance out there too. So bringing these incredible people together on this panel, at least for me and for Billionaire Boys Club, is to inform everybody, kind of give some more insight about the music industry and the different parts of it, whether it be through CAA, UM, Apple Music, or artist management. So I hope that if you guys take anything away from that, it's you guys get something out of this. So without further ado, I think the first topic I really wanted the panelists to get into. So right now, like, we all know, like, the current temperature of the music industry. It's in an interesting place, especially when it comes to hip hop and R&B, right? So in terms of, like, when you guys, you know, in your respective fields and for the companies you work for, what is kind of like some of the key factors in identifying talent for you guys, whether it be at CAA, UM, or you know, Apple Music and on the playlisting side? Whoever wants to go first.
I guess I'll start.
Don't be scared now.
I would say for me, music, right? At the end of the day, you know, we are sort of technically A&R-ish type people, because I think we still have to, you know, understand the music to understand the consumer, and who we're selling to in terms of tickets and things of that nature. So I would say probably music, and then I think every other metric that's out there, from like a streaming perspective to relationships in those local markets, to sort of lean on and ask whether or not this artist is actually, you know, doing the things that they're saying in their own hometown. Relationships in the industry and things of that nature. I think that's how we sort of identify talent.
Goldie?
I feel like at United Masters, there's a few different like levels when we look to partner with an artist, right? Music is first and foremost. Like, someone on our team has to be passionate about the artists and their music. And then there's that factor of, like, you know, a star when you see them. They don't need to be already lit or, you know, have their career all sorted out, but you know a star when you see them. And I think that's what's made United Masters really special, is that we're in the business of, like, breaking artists from day one and building that up brick by brick. So I would say like two things. One, the music, and someone on the team being super passionate about that, and you know a star when you see one.
For sure, and to piggyback off of that, like, for us, music is the baseline, right? Like, great music, you wasn't gonna get to us until you had great music. So outside of that, it's the feeling. So when I see, like, I think I just seen, like, Fergie Baby just did a fire on the radar freestyle, and how he was able no, I was trying to be smooth about it, but thanks. You see somebody do something that makes you feel, right? Like, I'm not from New York, but when I seen his freestyle, I felt like I was from New York. And I feel like every artist that wants to gain attention should be able to make you feel like you're a part of their world. And that's what I'm always looking for.
Yeah, man. I don't want to do three piggybacks in a row, but, like, honestly, everything that they just said is what I look for in programming, trying to find new artists or anything like that. If you're passionate enough and you feel that talent, and if you can feel something through the music, through your personal life, and you can feel that that artist is passionate about what he's talking about or what she's talking about, I feel like after that, sky's the limit if you really want to take it there.
Right. Okay, Goldie.
And I just wanted to chime in because, I feel like no one likes saying this, but there are the partnerships where it's data, right? This is music business, right? We're in this game to make money. And if the data is presenting itself, if an artist is going viral and they're bringing in revenue, if it makes sense to invest in the artist the same way you'd invest in a company, that's also another angle outside of, the music and the passion.
Right. And I think that's also something always that is important to mention, because it's kind of like the music and the data both making sense at the same time really leads to that perfect formula for breaking an artist. Now, in terms of like breaking artists and like especially amplifying Black voices within the spaces that you guys have, what have been some, I guess, like examples or moments that you've been able to create with these artists to amplify their voices that you guys could think of off the dome?
I'll go first. One of the most important things to me that I've done in my life in this music game and just culture, everything is, God rest his soul, we was working with Pop before he passed, and being able to bring Pop to Dykeman for a basketball game. And, we were going back and forth like, oh, can he get the mic up there? Can he do this and that? He had the mic for maybe like 2 seconds, 3 seconds, whatever. But the moment when they played Welcome to the Party in Dior, after he didn't need a mic. The whole crowd was singing it. The whole, the game damn near stopped, So moments like that to amplify an important Black voice like that in the city, like Pop, and then also amplify what's going on outside with these basketball players and just outside culture, just Dykeman in general. That type of stuff I feel like is priceless. It's the stuff that lives forever in people's minds and memories.
For sure, a recent win, I would say, for an artist I was working with. He's an Olympic track runner, which my mic is kind of fucking up. But he's an Olympic gold medalist. His name is Will Clay. And he came to me, he was like, yo, I'm also a platinum artist. And I was like, damn, you won in 2 sports, like in 2 avenues, right? And I was like, how can we make you win more? And we partnered with Delta Airlines, and now with him training for the Olympics, Delta Airlines was able to give him more than enough money and travel to be able to go to Paris for the Olympics, and that was a partnership that we were able to do through amplify his music, and celebrate him during Grammy weekend at our biggest event. So things like that just make me happy, and I appreciate that. And one other thing I would like to say is, it's not just like music that's out, right? So I was lucky enough to work with an artist who didn't even put their song out. Sent me the song. It was called Hall of Fame. Kobe Bryant's his favorite player, so it was kind of like this Kobe Bryant inspired song. He sent me the song. I sent it to my sync team 3 months later. That's the only song that's been playing through the NBA Finals. A song that's not even out. He was able to get money for that. He was able to see Damian Lillard do his honorary thing that was honored to Kobe with his song playing. He FaceTime me crying. And that's the type of things that we're looking to do, is just impact artists and then let them use these moments to project their careers.
That's fire. Ahmad, I feel you because we work together. But I would say I can't necessarily pinpoint on one specific thing, because when people think of Black voices, I think immediately we think of R&B and hip hop, right? But I'm grateful to work across different genres, right? So we're amplifying voices of the Black artists who are making rock and alternative music, the Black artists who are making country music, folk music. So I think if that's one thing I can say is that I'm super grateful to amplify Black voices outside of what people think Black voices is restricted to.
guess I'd say for me, it's like, and I honestly was sitting here racking my brain, but it's like finding that right performance or that right sort of support, if it's a support tour or if it's a tour in general in terms of timing. I think for me, it's been being able to sort of help create those moments or at least orchestrate those moments with my clients in terms of like their first performance in their hometown, right? Finding the right room, working with the right promoter, and having it sell out, big or small. I think those moments for me are like top tier.
Right. And I feel like you kind of started touching on the next question I was going to ask, like in the process of amplifying, you know, black voices across any genre. Goldie, I like how you mentioned like outside of hip hop as well. What do you feel like you guys, what are some of the struggles that you feel like the industry as a whole has with amplifying these voices, or that like you guys have had within your respective spaces of amplifying the voices?
I would say for me, it's sometimes the promoter, right? In terms of their perspective of our music or the artist. You know, sometimes you have to sort of force their hand to do a show, right? There's some shows that they don't necessarily jump for. But what I've been grateful for is that I've built a relationship with a lot of promoters where they know that I advocate for artists, and I work with a lot of emerging artists. Like most of my clients, I've started with them from when they were either trying to get signed or they just had a management team and nothing else. So I've sort of built, you know, that credibility that with some of these smaller acts that I'm developing, that those shows are gonna do well, that the crowd is gonna be respectful, that there aren't gonna be any issues. So sort of building that sort of cachet with promoters takes a lot of time. So being able to sort of have been able to do that across these years, I think, helps amplify black music and voices.
I would say a big challenge is managing expectations. And what I mean by that is it takes at least 5 years to break an artist, right? And you have to manage that expectation not only with the artists themselves, who they believe in themselves, they want to be a star tomorrow. You have to manage that expectations with the labels too, right? Just because the first single or the first project didn't do the numbers you wanted to do doesn't mean that artist is a flop, right? It takes at least 5 years to break an artist. So I think managing that expectation across the board is a big challenge. We're so used to like, I feel like since like COVID, right? We've been so used to like immediate, like viral, like artists like going viral off of TikTok and blowing up, but to build like a career that has longevity, it takes time, and managing that expectation is a big challenge.
I feel like, Will, I kind of want you to like go off what Goldie said, because just off of like, you know, obviously we spoke about at the beginning how you manage cash, but I think that cash is a perfect example of like building up longevity over like the last 5 years for real.
Yeah, man. The whole time, you know, everybody was talking, the main word that kept coming back to my brain was just trust. And it's really forming that trust just across all fields, even, you know, with your artists and, like you were saying, the promoters and stuff. You know, a lot of these promoters, these venues and other places, they just don't trust us. They don't trust our music. They don't trust who we're gonna bring. They don't trust this. They don't trust we're gonna buy drinks. They don't trust we're gonna, you know. I think it just all comes down to trust a lot. And then, you know, from that point with the artist, it also takes immense trust, because, you know, at the end of the day, they're the CEO of the ship they're driving, which is their career. And a lot of the times, you know, and how it should be, those decisions come down to him or her. These are, you know, they're running their own business, their own ship, and we're just here to help you steer it and help you get out the vision that you want. So over the past 4 years, almost, we've been managing cash. Yes, it's taken this time. We're almost, like she said, we're almost at year 5, and it's taken this time to gain that trust, to fail and then come back and succeed, to take 5 steps back, 10 steps forward. You know what I'm saying? It's a lot of things that you have to go through the trials and tribulations with the artist to gain that trust. And a lot of people don't want to go through the trials and tribulations. And that's a lot of the determining factor of why shit don't make and break. You know what I'm saying? So.
Right. I think, like, you know, we were talking about the pandemic and, like, kind of being used to this level of instant gratification with artists and, you know, the struggles behind that. And a big factor within that is TikTok, obviously, right? I feel like it's, like, our greatest strength, but also it's kind of like, you know, it could be rough as an artist to try to break on TikTok at certain times. How do you guys feel that TikTok has influenced the way that our music comes out now? And kind of, like, has it also hurt the traditional forms of how we would promote an artist, whether it be through radio, concerts, venues, like things like that? Everybody want to say something at once. Go ahead. Who wants to go first?
Do we have any artists in here? Okay, cool.
Let's get
So
it.
TikTok is clearly an important marketing driver and something to put in your strategy. But as an artist, you should be world building, right? And when you're building your own world, you want your fans to experience you at different touch points. So digital is just one thing, right? Making sure they experience you in real life, whether that's through meet and greets, through touring, is also an important thing. Getting them to buy into your lifestyle, whether that's through merch, is also an important thing, right? Radio is also important. So when we think of traditional marketing, the artists who are absolutely seeing the most success, they're building worlds, and they're touching on all of these points where their fans can experience them outside of TikTok. So I don't think TikTok's necessarily hurting it. I think it's become an important conversation, and it should never be left out of a marketing plan. But if you're, you know, you're world building, so you need to be leveraging a little bit of everything.
I like if I can interject real quick, I like the world building part. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, she's talking, bro. Like, I think if I may interject 5 seconds, like, I think whenever I talk about world building with artists, I'm like, you look at what Travis Scott and Don Toliver have done and how, like, each one of their projects and everything that create is very intentional. And if I can, like, I know Fergie Baby's here and we keep calling him out, but, like, even Fergie Baby and his Goddess from Harlem slang and everything that he's been doing with creating this world with his music, like, I think that world building is so important when it comes to the music that you're putting out and the projects you're putting out.
Bro, you snap so crazy. I'm still in the digital touch points thing. That was crazy. I mean, yeah, the world building that's what it takes. It takes 5 years to build one of these worlds. You know, we've been building with cash. Like Gabe just said, Fergie, you know, I've been living in Harlem for almost a decade, and you made me feel like I was living there my whole life. So that's the type of stuff you got to do, bro. Especially in this day and age, and, you know, we're bringing it back to TikTok. You know, TikTok's cool. You know, a lot of kids have phones a lot earlier than we did growing up, so they're already tapped in. They're already ready to go. Like, they're ready to go. Like, they're ready to find kids are ready to find their favorite artists by, like, age 5 now. Like, easily. Like, it's not no type of games. Like, they're ready to find their top 3 or top 5 by, like, age 5 or age 7. And for us, we were just listening to the radio, you know. We were just riding around, listening to radio, hearing things that we like. But, yeah, bro, TikTok's cool, but build a world.
For sure. Like, I kind of look at TikTok like, I mean, all y'all have dated before, right? Raise your hand if you dated before. Damn, I was about to say, I know y'all dated someone. But I kind of look at TikTok as like the first date, right? It's kind of hard to fuck up. Like, you already know it. Oh, my bad. Shout out to the sponsors. It's kind of hard to mess up. Like, you had your whole time to plan for that first date. So that TikTok is your first date. Of course she likes you after that. Of course he likes you after that. What are you going to do to make him stay? And that's where Instagram is. That's where TikTok is. That's where your full project is. So TikTok is a great first date. But what are you going to do to make him marry you? And all of your fans have to marry you. Kanye has fans that married him, regardless if he's crazy or not. The fact that you have to decide if you want to build with him and stay around for him means you married him. There's plenty of artists on TikTok. If I find out that they kicked their dog one night, I'm like, oh, yeah, I knew I didn't need him. So what are you going to do to make people really reconsider if they want to stop listening to you? What are you going to do to make fans reconsider if they should get that shirt that you got? If they should get tattoo that you got? How are you going to make people want to be you? How are you going to make people like aspire to be like you? And it goes past TikTok. That's just the beginning.
Check. There we go. I was also gonna say in regards to that, I think of like in 2020 when we saw this boom of TikTok and artists blowing up on TikTok. And I hate to look at it like this, but I feel like that first round of TikTok artists, there's a lot of them that didn't make it past the signing. You know what I'm saying? Because you see like a lot of them, and I don't think it's a secret now, like artists aren't getting $1 million deals like they used to, 10, 20 years ago, right? So during this time of TikTok, like labels were throwing a lot of money at these TikTok artists, but the problem was that, in the time of the pandemic and not being outside, they couldn't really feel or connect with their fans. They couldn't create this world, the world building that we were all just talking about. So a lot of them ended up just kind of going with what was working, which was, like being on that first date. I'm just going to keep doing what I'm doing and going to try to maintain, but that don't get you very far. And unfortunately, a lot of them fell off after that because of the fact that they couldn't really, they were good at making TikTok songs, but they weren't good at creating a world. You know what I'm saying? So like, I think that's also a very important thing to say. And also in the same conversation of TikTok, there's a lot of other incredible black artists on TikTok outside of hip hop. Do you feel like in that respect, whether it's R&B, Afrobeats, even like alternative music, do you feel like TikTok has been a viable platform for those artists to gain exposure as well too? Or what are your thoughts on that?
I think TikTok's a tool, right? Like, I don't think they're intentionally going and searching out for those acts to sort of, like, it's not like we have this program or this pipeline specifically for this genre of music or this type of person. I think it's a tool. I think it's about the intentionality of using that tool. But I think it's about the intentionality of using all the tools out here to sort of make people aware of who you are and maximize your exposure. So it's a great tool, but if they do decide to do some sort of pipeline program specific to something, amazing and great, but I don't know if it's necessarily that.
I personally love TikTok. I personally do. I had somebody, like my boy Mike, he works at Republic. I don't know, I think he's still there. But he said TikTok is one of the first platforms or apps that you can really just, like, you can become popping on there if you're just good. Like it's that simple. Like he was telling me about like the algorithm and stuff, how it's like different, like, like IG, you have to do all this and this and that. Like TikTok, if you're talented, people will find you. And that type of, when he said that, it kind of like just made me think different about it. I was like, okay, TikTok is it's like that. So I feel like it has spotlighted stuff outside of just hip hop and anything. Like you'll be on TikTok all day finding artists that you never knew it existed. Black artists and artists that are making alternative music that you didn't know you liked. So I like TikTok a lot, guys. Sorry.
Word. Eve, this question is more specific for you, right? So obviously CA is one of the biggest like talent agencies in the world, right? And we kind of touched upon it like very briefly at the beginning of this conversation, but when it comes to you specifically in CAA, like what are some of the criteria you look at before, I guess, bringing someone on for management?
God, I've signed artists that are not signed to labels. I've signed artists that are. I've signed artists that I've just heard demos of music and fell in love with it and was passionate about it in that sense. So like I said, I think it's music, right? I think there has to be something there. Again, there has to be some level of something like that. In the pit of your stomach when you see, like she said, that someone's a star, right? There has to be, and not say it needs to be perfect, but there has to be something there that's like significant. I think mentally also, you guys have to, artists have to also be prepared. Their team has to be prepared, right? It's business at the end of the day. It's contracts. It's money. It's figuring out timing. So, unfortunately, gone are the days where you can just have whomever as your manager and think that, you're going to get a label deal and you're going to get all these big endorsement deals and all the things are going to be perfect. People do get tired of unprofessional behavior that will stop a bag. So just saying, oh, well, sign me and put me on the road, that's not how that works, right? Someone literally has to want to buy a ticket. I don't buy tickets. So I'm not the consumer, right? We're trying to actually get someone, whether it's $15, whether it's $20, whether it's $25, right? With ticketing fees, it makes those things balloon, right? So you literally have to make someone actually want to spend their hard-earned money to go into a room. So whether it's 50 people, 100 people, it is hard to fill a 100-cap room. I've seen the popping artists that are larger than life can't sell a ticket to stay their life, right? You can tell what artists actually tour on a consistent basis in multiple markets and who doesn't. So that is literally that's literally based on who they are as an artist, that's based on their team and the decisions that they make. So it's really about having all those things together. You cannot be signed to a label, you can have your manager, and you can have, possibly someone that's a publicist. If that team is strong and that team is right, then you have the opportunity to succeed. But once your team is off, there's only but so much that I can do to mask from behind my desk, that a label can do to mask for you. Like, we can put Band-Aids over stuff, but eventually the dirty secret's gonna get out. So it's really, really important to sort of have your ducks in a row, because it's not like you're gonna control when the light switch goes on. When it hits, and you gotta be ready.
I like that. And also, I think a good word to use for that is also, like, all the artists in the room, you have to be coachable. Coachable is like a big word, and be willing to take like criticism for what you're doing as like an artist, or also as like just being a human being. Because I think we've all been in these rooms with artists where we're like, hey, yo, bro, you wildin'. And a lot of artists, I feel like to use the term like blackball, but it's not blackball if you were the problem in the first place. You know what I'm saying? And I just wanted to add on to that. Now, Goldie and Ahmad, right? Obviously, you guys, United Masters has been like so integral lately to like allowing artists to be like their own bosses, whether it's the personal favorites of mine, Anicia, Big X, most recently Brent, which we're going to get into. But what efforts are UM as a whole, and also you guys doing to continue to like empower artists to be in control of like their own destiny within like owning their music and so on and so forth?
So check. Yeah, so to start, like every artist that works with us, it's pretty obvious. I think Steve Sada said it enough. You own 100% of your masters. Like you own it outright. So with that comes work on the artist side. So I think for us, Goldie touched on the fact of managing expectations. So with the artist, right, you can't own 100% of your work and then expect somebody to do 100% of the work for you. And I think with us, we just try to make sure that the artists that are willing to do the work are able to reap the benefits. And it's a mutually beneficial relationship, because if they work hard and we work hard, you get a Big X, you get an Alicia, you get a Brent. So it's about these artists who are willing to build their worlds and just use us as the resources that we have to help take them to the next level.
And I want to chime in for some of our smaller artists, right, who aren't the Big X, the Plugs, the Brands, or the Anicias of the world, which I think is really cool. What United Masters is doing, really important, is that we're changing what success means for an artist, right? So you think like back in the days, it's like, yo, we got the chains, we got the cars, I'm on MTV, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, and it looks great, right? It looks great. That does not mean that they're making money. That does not mean they're owning the rights to their work, right? But on the side of United Masters, there are artists who are making close to 6 figures off sync and brand partnership deals. Now, you think of like making 6 figures in your career at any job. Is that not success? So as an artist, you're making 6 figures, and we're not even talking about streaming. We're just talking about brand partnerships and sync stuff. You're making this money
Explain what sync is real quick, since everybody doesn't know.
Okay, so if you don't know what a sync is, it's when your music is being used in with a commercial brand, whether that's on television, whether that's on social, in a movie, etc. So again, changing what success looks like for an artist. There's artists who are taking home close to 6 figures, paying their bills, changing their lives, buying cars, taking care of their family, and I think that's, in my opinion, one of the most important things that United Masters is doing. It's no longer the artist who's on, I keep saying MTV, something like back in the day, who's on MTV, who has all the glitz and the glamour or whatever. It's like, who's actually making the money?
I like that. Kind of like a Brent Fire centered question. First of all, congrats. That's beautiful, right? Come on, give a round of applause. Come on. I feel like this partnership with UM and Brent is so beautiful because obviously Brent has been this artist who, along with like the Russ of the world, has been such a champion for owning your music and being able to do this outside of the major label scope of things. With him joining UM, what is kind of like, obviously you can't talk too much about the plan, but like how is UM empowering Brent and vice versa to kind of push forward with continuing, the idea of artists being able to be in control of their work and their masters and all that?
So first, I want to just shout out Brent and his team. They've always been super smart and super strategic in the moves that they make in the industry. He's always been independent. They've always found the right partners, and Brent moves to get his own drum and to work for him, right? At United Masters, like I mentioned earlier, we look at artists as partners. We don't sign artists, we partner with them, right? And I like to think of UM as a VC, right? Like a venture capitalist company that invests in other businesses, right? Brent, he's not a product, he's not just an artist, but he's a business. And we're investing in him. We're giving him the funding and the resources so his business could succeed. And that's how we're looking at the partnership with Brent. It's not just music, he's building Nuo, he's building his own world. And we look at him as a business, and we're in DC making sure that he succeeds.
I love that. Now this is going to Will, right? And Will being a part of Apple Music and obviously working with Cash. What have been some of the ways that you have been able to use your position at Apple Music to also empower upcoming artists? Now we've seen you do it with playlisting Ice Spice early on and whatnot. But how are you in this stage of your career and after all the success you've had, continuing to keep that same mentality and same drive to empower artists through Apple Music?
Honestly, bro, just to see the reaction from some of these artists that I throw up, because you sent me music before for the playlist. You know how I be with it. It's just send me this, and I'll make sure it's up there. That's really not that much fun. Even live has done some stuff. So at this point in my career, still being able to find new artists, because there's always gonna be a new artist. It's always gonna be the next Ice Spice or the next Cash Cobain, next Pop Smoke. It's always more, bro. Music to me, music is like life to me. So I believe it's the ultimate form of creation. And when you find an artist that's passionate, like we were talking before, passionate, talented, there's nothing else. I mean, for me, there's nothing else I want to do other than help and see it grow and see where it's about to go. I don't even want to. Half the time, I don't want to be involved. I just like it. I hear people was talking about, oh yeah, you wanna energize Spice, you were part of the team and this and that. No, bro, I just liked it. I thought it was cool and I threw it up there. It helped a lot. We created a relationship over that because no one else was really supporting. It was just me throwing her on the New York and the new East Coast, which the playlists I run for Apple. But in regions like this, the New York and the new East Coast is extremely important to the music industry. Extremely important. I've thrown Fergie up there a few times. I'm about to throw the next one on you. Please. I get it.
That Fergie baby freestyle coming out.
The world needs to know DSPs, bro. The world needs to know DSPs, bro. I swear to God. I swear to God, bro. I swear to God. It's going right up whenever you say it. It's up. So, I just think finding new artists and doing that stuff is special, bro. And I will always try to do that. Try to amplify voices to everybody that's talented and can do this.
And also, like, I would say that, like, with Will's playlist too is also how I find a lot of people as well. Like, I think you were talking about like the New York playlist. Like in 2021, I was just flipping through the songs and I found a little artist of the name of Chow Lee on that playlist. And then that eventually led to like me and Chow doing like 10 on the radar videos together. I got a project with Chow and Money dropping next month, like, and a lot of other stuff on the way. But I think like, you know, do anybody who is like an aspiring music industry like professional outside, not music, like not actual artists, do anybody who wants to just be in the music industry in general? See a few people. I would say like, you know, kind of going off of what Will said, like, and I'm sure everybody on this panel can agree, we just sometimes do things because we like it. You know what I'm saying? Like, there doesn't need to be an ulterior motive behind it. It doesn't need to help me advance any further in my career, or it doesn't need to do anything for me monetarily wise. Sometimes, like, I think we just do shit because we're just like, yo, I fuck with this artist, you know what I'm saying? And like, I just want to say that I think like it's very important that like if you approach the music industry off the rip, think about like, yo, all I'm trying to do is get rich as a music industry professional, not as an artist. Like, you're not gonna win in the long run.
You're gonna cook yourself. I mean, having that type of mentality getting into the music industry is just. You might as well go, you might as well go trap or something, bro. Like, you want to go rich or get rich or something, like, bro, you might as well go to the trap or rap.
Right. Well, as we start to wrap up this portion of the panel, what do you guys feel like are some of the biggest mistakes you see artists make in 2024 and resources that they're not using to their full advantage?
I can start. A lot of my day-to-day, I'm blessed to be able to literally work with artists all day. So with that, I do get to see a lot of the mistakes as much as I get to see the wins. I would say one of the main mistakes I've seen is lack of consistency. I feel like artists will drop a song in January and then I don't hear from them again until April when they're ready to drop their next song. And it's like, what was you doing since January? You know, I think a lot of artists will take weeks and months to plan a release, and then they stop caring about it the week after they posted it on Instagram. There's so much more that you can do to push a song. So I feel like the lack of consistency and the lack of pushing their own music has been the main deterrent I've seen from artists this season.
That makes me think like consistency and pushing your music, right? It's like an artist, how do I explain this? You're on TikTok, you should be on YouTube Shorts. You're on YouTube Shorts, you should be posting on Instagram Reels. You're on Spotify, you should be on Audiomack. You should be on SoundCloud. Your profile should be updated. Your bio, your photo, it should be consistent. You should be pushing yourself across all the different mediums. I think people get really caught up on like just TikTok and just Spotify when there are, again, so many different touch points for you to build new fans and for people to discover you. So I think consistency across wherever your music could be found is really, really important.
Right, I agree. Eva, I'm gonna let you go. You said something about Audiomack that was really cool, and I think that everybody should like take note of is that a lot of the countries outside of America, they have streaming platforms that are like localized to those countries. And one example is like Audiomack. They're not paying me to say this. I just genuinely think it's really dope. Audiomack is like the biggest streaming platform in Africa, and I didn't realize this until we put some of our like Afrobeat performances on there, and I saw them shooting up. And then once we did more research, we found out like that's like their Apple Music and Spotify here. So if you're not also uploading to other like DSPs and you're not kind of looking into these little centralized streaming services around the world, you're actually losing on like a ton of revenue that you could be making. So that's just the point I wanted to make. Eve?
I would say comfortability, right? I think, and a little bit of complacency, right? Like I think you get this hit or you're viral and you're like, I've made it. And you know, all the things that you were doing to sort of get to that moment fall by the wayside, and then you leave everything up to your label, your manager, you know, everyone else to sort of then push you forward. So, you know, I think that that's really, if you're not looking for a long-term career, then fine, I get
sort of your one and done mentality. But if you're talking about truly having longevity, whether it's 3 years, whether it's 5 years, whether it's 10 years down the line, you have to you can't just have that one moment and think you've made it. I would say that out of sight, out of mind. And when you look at all the different ways that people have access to release music and become stars, that day that you decided to lag, or those 5 days, you could have lost your spot, easy. You could have been forgotten. So I think that, you get on this flyer or you have this moment and then you think, okay, my job is done, it's over. So to me, that's probably the biggest problem.
Word. I think before we go to the Q&A, the last thing I'll ask all you is, going forward, what is one goal that you guys want to achieve within your career? Everybody just like,
I think I'll jump in and touch on the executive part or the professional part. I know for me, especially on my side of the business, there aren't a lot of people that look like me, right? When you look at touring agents at any agency, there aren't a lot of us playing in our own culture. So I would say that, I guess my biggest sort of thing is giving people opportunity and pulling them into the business and pulling them into the agency world. More so on the music side, but just in general on the agency world as a whole. In terms of like mentoring young executives and things of that nature. I think for me that's my biggest sort of thing, along with working with amazing artists and things of that nature. I do think that there's an important piece as someone that's in this business that we have to sort of fulfill.
love it.
So, when I think of my goals, I have like a North Star, and like that North Star like changes often, right? But like my main goal is to, one, build community and amplify the voices that I believe in. So whatever that looks like, whatever I gotta do, whatever it takes, is what I'll do at every stage of my career. So I'll leave that there.
I think for me, I truly believe like my life is a dream, and I think for me, helping as many people reach theirs as possible is my main goal. And I think doing that, I have to continue to do the work and get into either higher positions where I have even more resources to help as many people as possible. And like that's really what it is. I think we all have a dream, and I think at the end of the day, the talented people like deserve to be heard. And my job is to make sure that those people get that.
Love it.
Yeah, one of my main goals, I know everybody else is real like sentimental and everything and like real cool and stuff. One of my main goals for real is to start our own label. Start our own label and sign some of these artists that we are finding early and change their lives and amplify even more than just an Apple Music playlist or just anything like that. I want to I've been there early a lot of the time, so I'm to be there early and see where we can take it on a different level.
Dope. So now we're gonna open it up to all you guys to ask questions. We're gonna do 15-minute Q&A, and she's very strict, so she's really gonna cut me off. All right. So make your questions as quick as possible so we can answer them. Is there another mic to pass around, or we just?
Can we take one mic from down real quick?
What's the pass?
That passes.
Check. Alright, who wants to ask a question? Anybody? Let's start over here. And then I'll try to pass the mic around, I promise. I want to try to get as many people as possible, alright?
Hi, my name's Samantha. I actually just moved to New York from Toronto, Canada, so I got a scholarship at the Rock Nation School. So I know from like the outside, a lot of people are like, oh my gosh, everything's good. But like when I moved to the States, I didn't realize like, I have no work visa and stuff like that. So it's like, it's just really hard because I do everything alone all by myself. But I have all the ideas in my head. Like I went on tour in Jamaica, I went on tour in Mexico. Like I'm doing all of this myself. Like I know that you could like have the marketing plans of like TikTok influencers, getting collabs, all that stuff. But it's just really hard because of I don't know what companies I could reach out to that do like budgeting for international artists, because of a lot of the budgeting here or like companies are like you need to be an American citizen. So I don't know if you guys would know like any companies that do help like international artists or like how to describe it? Yeah, there's companies that like help artists like with funding because I have all the ideas, like everything's in my head and I try to do it all by myself. But like that's the main thing I need is a team and funding. Everything else is just in my head. Like I already know about myself on the Times Square billboard and stuff like that. So yeah, that's my question.
I would say, like, I think you also need to sort of maybe spend time. I don't know if you can tell me if I'm wrong or not, but in terms of you shouldn't be doing it all by yourself, right? Because you also need to create and do all those things. So it's literally trying to find time to also build a team or build a network of people that are actually going to help you execute some of these goals. Because literally doing it, like you're gonna run yourself right.
I don't want to, I need a team.
Yeah. So I'm like, and if you're in school, maybe it's sort of seeing how you can, there might be someone in your class or whatever that might be interested. So I think it's sort of also reaching across in terms of your network of folks as well, to maybe help offload some of what you're doing, because that's a lot to do by yourself, and you're in school too, right?
Yeah, I'm only 23, so like even when I went on tour in Jamaica, like they were all like, oh like, where's your team? But I was able to like actually bring out a crowd of 100, like in like each venue I did, through just marketing, like Instagram ads, all that stuff I did myself. So when I was there, they were all kind of shocked. I was like, oh, you're performing yourself. Like, where's your manager? Where's your? I'm just like, I'm here. I'm like, yeah, but no one knows. So it's just like that's all. So like, how would you advise me to build a team?
Is there a network, like, do you have friends that you can share music with and potentially get them invested in helping see you grow? Like, is there like a best friend, or maybe it's also, if you're from Toronto, if you have a team there, like, it's not necessarily about having everyone with you physically with you, but you could probably delegate some tasks to other people that already might be in your life to sort of help with some of the stuff. Because it might not necessarily be a company, right? Or off the bat, but you still do need the help.
Okay, thank you.
Alright.
Y'all follow me on Instagram, okay, Sammy.
I like that. I saw my hands in the back with the kind of eager.
So question, right? You guys said merchandise is a big thing for artists. What are something that you all four are doing to promote merchandise and amplify merchandise for artists to make an impact in that world? Because we have like Tyler Creator, Kanye West, and things of that nature that make good merchandise. And these artists like, and Lily Chopper makes good stuff too. But there's a lot of artists who lag in the merchandise department. So what are you guys doing to fill that just right now?
Well, that's not our decision, right? In terms of the merch company that you choose, or like, of course, quality merchandise costs money. I think a lot of some of these deals that are being made are, based on honestly what you're going to be able to sell, right? You have to sort of figure out your price point and all those things. And that's not a decision I know for myself that I make for a client. I can provide them resources to different companies that do amazing work in terms of turnaround, in terms of design and things of that nature. But that is literally a decision that an artist makes, whether if they're gonna really map it out and think about it in terms of really maximizing their money, or if it's a quick hit so they don't necessarily care about quality and design. It's really something that you have to sort of invest time into maximizing and really sort of strategize about. That's a decision that an artist actually has to really put some thought and time into doing for it to be done effectively. The reason why your child creators sell merch the way they do is because they actually spend time treating it like its own thing. It's not something that is a side hustle or, the merch will sell. It's literally a team that is dedicated to literally only dealing with merch.
Pass it back up.
Actually, that's it.
Hello, it's your boy Short Some Last Night. Representing Love First TV, Top Content Entertainment. Look, what makes our artists stand out in the music industry? And what helps them get them seen on the radar for yourself?
I'll answer y'all to piggyback. I think like, at least for me and for my team, especially just because we be so busy nowadays, not only housing artists from New York, but like from all around the country, and honestly all around the world. We just put out a French freestyle today. Our first Italian freestyle said 1.1 million views. So it's like when it comes to like emerging artists, I'm thinking back to the beginning of our conversation where it's like a mix between the music being good, but also the data being there. And there have been a lot of cases with artists who, it was funny because the other day, Devontae the singer was at my studio just hanging out with me. And he was like, yo, bro, you remember when you first met me? And I said, nah, I don't. And he was like, it was outside of this club in Brooklyn, and I asked you to get on the radar. This is before Lovers and Friends or anything. And I was like, bro, like, I don't know any of your music. Like, I've never heard of you before this moment. Like, you fuck with Cash, and Cash is my guy, but like, I've never heard a single song from you. And at that moment, it like something clicked in his brain, and he said, I bet you. See you in 7 months, and 7 months later, he was on the radar. But it was because he put out the project, and there was this like, the numbers were there, the music was good, and I was like, yo, bro, I think you're the one. You know, and that's because he waited his time. I think like a lot of times, especially with OTR, a lot of artists think that like OTR is gonna make or break you, right? And OTR doesn't break you unless you put in the work to deserve that moment. And I've even let people go on OTR before it was their time, like in the past, and I'm like, look, bro, I'm gonna put you on, but it's not gonna, you know what I'm saying? Because you're my man. And they were like, nah, maybe I should have waited after the fact that it first dropped. So a lot of times we're on the radar, it's a mix between like that preparation, the numbers, and the music at the same time. So it's a little bit of everything. So I don't know if you guys want to add on to like getting noticed as an artist too. Thank you.
I just wanted to add on to you saying that like, you know, you put artists on your platform before it was their time. And the importance of having a catalog, right? So you get posted on the radar. Now people want to binge your content. They want to see more, they want to listen to more, and if that's the only thing popping about you, it's just, it could work, right? There are cases where it does work, but that should not be like the end all be all.
Yeah, like if you go viral on a freestyle and then like you got no other music out, I ain't gonna lie, it's supposed to be slow for you. Because then now you're getting put in that position where it's like, yo, drop, but then you're dropping and you weren't prepared for this amount of rush and fan base. And I have seen this before too, I definitely have. And then like, there's some artists who have done like millions of views on my platform years ago that I don't even know where they are today. And it's nothing against them. Like, I thought the music was really good that when they had the time, but they had no catalog to back it up. And I use it, again, Vontae's the perfect example, but Vontae did OTR, some of his stuff did really well, but he had a whole album that people could go back to fuck with. You know what I'm saying? And then obviously, you know, he is where he is now, but like, that's, yeah, that would be my answer. Who got the mic?
I got a quick.
Let me get to her right here.
You say give it to her?
Yeah, no, that's the
How do you, so like as an artist, I'm always trying to tinker and make sure that my stuff is perfect, right? What advice do you guys have for people who, you know, want to make sure things are perfect? Because at the end of the day, we overthink, you know, we get things get in our head. So what advice do you guys have for that? I saw you shake your head well, like, no, so what you got?
Stop on that, man. Stop doing that, man. Stop worrying about it being perfect. Because nothing, and I know it's super cliche, but like nothing's perfect. So don't worry about making the super most perfect song every time. You know, a lot of our greatest hits, the greatest music that we have out in the history of music and everything, has come out of accidents and stupid dumb shit, you know? So don't stress yourself out trying to do this perfect thing because you think it's about to do this and then you're gonna send it, like, for example, this is what people think in their head when they send me music. You know, I got this perfect song, it's my focus track, I'm sending it to you, you know, so you play this here, play this there, this and that, and then, you know, you're setting yourself aside unrealistic expectations of yourself that when the expectations don't get met, it seems like a complete failure, and it's not. It's not. You put out a song, you did something that a lot of people are scared to even do. So don't hype yourself up to psych yourself out.
Hold on to this quote: perfection is the enemy of progress. So hold on to that.
I also think that like I also think that for Will's point, like whether it be like some artists have songs that the songs that they officially put out. I also like, you know, obviously having been through thousands of artists on OTR, I will say that like a lot of conversations that I've had, like artists' biggest songs are songs that they never intended to put out ever in their life. You know what I'm saying? If I had a dollar every time I heard that from an artist, I'd be a millionaire by now. And I think that is just because like, and that also kind of goes into what we're talking about guiding an artist too. And especially, you know, what I've been doing recently as a manager and what Will has done is just like, we just tell artists, we're like, look, like, this is a good record, like, put it out there. And oftentimes, like, they'll put it out there, they'll be like, wow, I can't believe you were right about that. So, yeah, the trying to get everything perfect isn't always, you know, always the right track. Okay. You have a question? Yeah.
All right, so I have more of a comment. I feel like this industry is extremely oversaturated, and everybody wants to be famous, but no one wants to put in the work. And a lot of artists don't realize that you have to really invest in yourself and in your brand. And I see it, I've been in this industry for a very long time. I'm not an artist, I'm a media correspondent, personality. My name is Yellow Ray. So I just see people come and go, and it's like now in this day and age, they are making anybody famous. And it's crazy because I'm just like, really? And there's a lot of trash out there, and I'm sorry. It's a lot of heavy trash out there. So I just want to also encourage a lot of artists, because I know we're in a room full of artists, just to keep going, invest in your brand, like align yourself up with the right people. Everybody is not out to get you. So, you know, a lot of people are very like protective over themselves, but sometimes you have to, you know, just let yourself, you gotta relax. Just relax, because you never know. God can place somebody in your life to help you, and you can burn that bridge, and then boom. The industry looks extremely huge, but it is very small, and you'd be very surprised of who know who, because I started off in radio. I've been in this industry since I was 12 years old, and I come from a background of family members that are in this industry. So just stay very focused, be encouraged, because you never know, the time that you give up might have been that time you could have hit. So if Cardi B can do it, you can do it. All it takes is being in the right setting and the right people. Let your network be your network. Do what you gotta do. Invest in your brand. And that's pretty much all I wanted to say.
Like a lot of people get discouraged because, like she said, the music industry is very saturated. But there's also hundreds of plumbers, and everybody got a toilet, right? Just like every person has ears, right? So as long as you can find your dedicated 100 listeners, 200 listeners, and then bring it to 3, you'll be fine. Like, there's 150 water brands. I try new one every other time. I stick to a few that I like, but at the end of the day, you try what's available. So just make yourself available to our artists. Don't be discouraged. If you believe in what you do, it shouldn't matter how many people do it. I know there's 100,000 nurses that just graduated today. And everybody granny's gonna be a nurse one day.
Just even go off that, like there's so many different types of, if we even just talking about hip hop, there's so many different variations of hip hop in 2024 that like, I think like right now, and you know, with the power of the phone, there's a lot of different types of music that can be made too, just strictly off BandLab. Like you could be an Anicia, you could be a Big X Pug, you could be a Laserdisc, you could be a Netspend, you could be like a boom bap rapper. There's so many different types of sounds, and like, you know, I'm not saying everything is good, but like there is like an audience, you know what I'm saying? And if you find that audience, I say you stick with it and just, again, make yourself available.
One of the greatest quotes I've seen about the internet that was kind of new is the internet flipped over every unturned rock just around the world. And then to piggyback off of that, streaming turned it up to the 10th degree. Everybody in here right now can drum a song if you wanted to. And that's kind of crazy. So back in the day, you know, people had the record labels and do this and that, and press CDs and boom, like, bro, people could really go on the bathroom right now, record on their phone, upload it, it would be on Apple Music in like 12 hours. So, you know, I know it's crowded right now, but it is what it is. That's why I said music is like life. When people allow that creation to happen, everybody in here can do it.
And you know, it's not crowded, and it's got it hard to see what's good, but it's also allowed us to find some of the craziest shit. So it is what it is.
What about some high school people?
Hey, I'm Flash Cash from Harlem, New York. I have a question. Since they making like fake accounts and this and that on social media and stuff, how do y'all know who's really doing what?
Like in what sense?
Because they got like, you can pay for followers and likes and this. So you either gonna do that or like, I'm confused with that whole thing.
As a former social media manager for like 7 years, I promise you I can spot that. I ran social media channels for Kyle Collier in New York from when I was 19 to 25. So if an artist ever comes across my table, you could ask John right there with the little aviator glasses on. You could ask Toby in the corner. They'll send me the artist. They'll be like, you know this person? I'll be like, bro, there's no way this person has 1 million followers. 20 comments on a picture. You know what I'm saying? So it's honestly, it's way more easier to spot than you might think.
It's high key kind of discouraging because it's like, who are these people? You know what I'm saying? Like, I got 15 with like random from like anywhere. What's happening?
Keep in mind, engagement is more important than the follower count, right? So someone with 10,000 followers, but they're getting 4,000 likes and 200 comments, hits way harder than someone with 1 million followers and getting 200 like that.
Yeah, in person is different. Like I know a lot of people in person off social media. I don't really care to play games. People who wouldn't really know unless they know me directly. So what advice do you give to people like that?
You gotta play the game, bro. It's competition. I mean, yeah, you gotta compete. That's what it is. That's why I said, the streamer, you got crowded, you got crazy, yeah.
So I have to make a dance for TikTok?
No, you don't like the other.
I think that's a very common misconception that you need to make.
You don't need none of this. You gotta keep dropping music. You don't let nothing. You don't want to do it.
I seen here pass that mic up from real quick, or Hillary, can you take the mic over there? Kind of going off the TikTok thing, but I wanna speak on that too. So I know you want to speak on it as well. I think like, can I get a little quiet? I think that like during the pandemic, we all got very used to seeing these TikTok dances, right? But oftentimes now, if you really are like actively paying attention and like Will says, like playing the game, the artists aren't making TikTok dances for real. That's like the thing. You might see like a drill artist doing a little dance on TikTok, but like I can speak from like my personal experience, and I think a good example recently for me is like Laylo, but not my problem. Layla didn't do no special dance on the radar to get her seen. She just had a good song that caught on TikTok, and everybody started making dance videos too. So, and I would tell this to you, I would tell this to a major artist too. Like, it doesn't matter, you know what I'm saying? Like, you don't need to dance or do anything for TikTok for a song to flow. Again, it's just about good music, reaching people, and people fucking with it, and it going viral. That's related. Other people online will do the work for you to push your record, as long as they fuck with it.
I think another example of that too is Fergie's. Fergie's, his freestyle is going crazy on Twitter, TikTok, whatever. And he didn't do nothing. He just rapped, and he just rapped like some old, like, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, some shit. That's my man. Yeah, so that's a further example. You should never think you gotta do some shit that discourage you or whatever. Go fuck that, bro. You do you, bro. That's nothing to worry about none of that.
Yeah, I think one more thing I'll say is like I think about like the same AJ kid who did OTR and also did like I forgot the stream he did, but he just be rapping for 20 minutes straight freestyle, and he just be going viral. He ain't doing no special, he ain't doing no dancing or whatever, and he got a distribution deal. So like, I think that like I think the idea that we need to make TikTok dances to push records is very just all stuck in our head from the pandemic. It's like a little bit of PTSD left over. But I promise you don't need to do dances to get your record to go viral, because honestly, people will do it for you. I promise. Okay,
yeah. What's up, y'all? My name is Dallas India. I'm a music artist from the Lower East Side. So happy to be here. So my question is, and I want to preface it by saying, a lot of people say, you know, often imitated, never duplicated, or imitation is the best form of flattery. So what would you say to an artist who comes to you like, you know, I got this sound, it's going viral, and then they start seeing other artists kind of copy that sound and that production? Is that a positive indicator that they're doing something right, or is that an indicator to you that, oh, we need to move on to the next wave, or we need to move on to another sound so they can't, you know, copy what we're doing? Like, what do you think about that? And, you know, what would you tell an artist who's going to do that sound? That's almost a good question.
That's a good question. Great question. Yeah, it's a good question. I think I think the artist should look at it as, yeah, you're doing something right. I think there's two answers. It's like both answers are the same almost. Like you're doing something right, but yeah, switch it up on it a little bit. But keep doing what you still have that baseline of what you're doing, because obviously it's right and it's, you know, people are packing and copying and doing something with it. But at the same time, you could smack them over the head and switch it up just a little bit so they can't, you know. That's how
I think if you like an originator of like a certain sound, like obviously everybody's doing like the sexy girl stuff right now. Everybody doing like power trap type beats and whatnot. But like, if you were like an originator of a sound, or if you were kind of there at the beginning, I don't think that like seeing other people doing your sound means that you should move on to the next thing. Like what I tell, like I manage Lonnie Love, but I tell them, I be like, yo, let's double down, bro. Like people watching you, people are copying you, people are trying to do what you do. Like let's double down on it. And like just know that like any artist who like originated a sound in history, they're already working on the next thing, and you just don't even realize it. They might not even realize it, but they're always working on the next thing. And that's like I guess like the key thing to knowing like who's authentic and who's not. You know what I'm saying? Because the real always gonna prevail. You feel me? So. Hell, you have any one more question? I'm gonna let you pick, because that's what I get playing. Alright, last question.
So my name is Vincent Pomba. One of the things I do is work with a lot of concert photography, and I work at Universal with Sony. But I'm trying to get in a lane where I can have friends, for example, like Birdie Babies, one of my friends, to make a bridge to connect them to people through Universal. I see that you guys are like on the executive side. So how would you recommend like using my concert photography to getting to places like Apple Music or like Young Masters or CCA on the way out to build the bridges with my portfolio for artists as well, since I don't directly work with upcoming artists, but a lot of experience in the music field working with big artists, established artists.
I was gonna say, I can give you an answer. I think at the end of the day, like, if you're wrong with somebody, that's probably the best that you can do, right? Like, of course, you gotta pay your bills, you gotta do what you're doing, and try to find other jobs, but like, Travis Scott photographer is known as Travis Scott photographer, and he can get whatever gig he wants. But it was because he was there at the beginning. And, like, Travis Scott didn't just switch up once he comes up and he got a new photographer. So the same way this artist is bubbling and delivering the sound, you gotta build your style. You can build it alongside of them and then have it branch out. Because there's gonna be people who just see his posts, right? Like, damn, who took the photos? And then now you can take their photos. And now it builds. You never know what's gonna hit, but you can't just use an artist as a bridge to a label. You can use your great work as a bridge to another great work.
I'm not sure if this answers your question, but like the Cassiat, Cole Bennett strategy, I've seen it work. Like recently it's worked for one of our artists. Like when you're releasing content on your own platform, you're building your own channel, your own platform. You're like, hey, like I will shoot this music video, et cetera, but it needs to be dropped on my platform. I've seen that work so well for content creators, filmmakers, videographers, video directors. I don't know what everybody would consider our strategy.
Hey, so bro, what you're talking about is literally my career. Like I started out taking pictures. I had actually one of the first Spotify billboards with Lucy. I was working with Atlantic, taking pictures, doing stuff like just like what you're talking about. And then I was doing concert photography, going around these artists and seeing stuff backstage, seeing people backstage like, yo, they look pretty damn important to me. I'm trying to be like them. And I I got close to artists, and then I knew people, just connections off of just taking pictures at shows and stuff like that. Oh, you kind of around, you know what's popping, this and that. Oh, you want to send me songs for the Apple Music playlist? Oh, fast forward a little bit. Oh, you want to get hired at Apple? You know, I obviously slow down with the pictures and stuff like that. I still kind of do it on my own a little bit, but yeah, a lot of these industries and a lot of these stuff intertwine, interact, and all types of things like that. So I believe that if you just keep doing what you're doing and keep being around, because what Fergie got going on right now, especially when y'all drop that song, what's going around, it's going to be more people inquiring, just knowing what's going on. And if you're taking pictures around here at all these upcoming shows and these new artists, people are going to, ask you. Because if it takes one time for somebody to ask you your opinion, and you're right, and then they start hitting you up. Because that's exactly what happened to me.
And I think because you mentioned OTR, like artists that brought photographers to like OTR, numerous times, and some of them I've even built friendships with, and if it's like a concert or my birthday party, whatever we're doing, I'll just be like, yo, they'll be like, can I pull up? I'll be like, yeah, pull up, and that's just because I've grown with them in a way as well too. That kind of like what we were talking about, locking in with an artist. I don't know, Artois Mo was at the studio a couple weeks ago doing his new video with us, but his photographer, signed videographer, I've known him since the first time Mo came years ago. And he's been with him this whole time, locked in. And obviously, again, that kind of goes to just building that bond with an artist and just sticking with them. And through that bond, and through the other opportunities that Ferg has or whoever you decide to align yourself with, you'll be able to meet these people along the way that will also bring you more opportunities down the line too.
All right, Joe. That was the last question that we can take for the evening. Let's have a round of applause for